are back at the Photo Forum, and I am here today with Chevi SuperNova.
Hi.
How can you go wrong with that name, right? Chevi has become a dear friend of mine. She is a burlesque dance teacher. It is phenomenal. I've recently had the opportunity to see her teach a class, and whoa, I learned some shit, let me tell you.
Good, I'm glad.
So Chevi is actually into the modeling industry now also. She started off her modeling career and is available to photographers who are looking for her very unique, beautiful look.
Thank you.
You can see her photos on your Instagram page.
Chevi SuperNova on Instagram and Chevi SuperNova Burlesque on Facebook. Yep.
Yeah. Check that out. Gorgeous model. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Chevi does a little bit of a thing with me. So we have created a photo session together that features burlesque. And what happens is it's for groups of women, so friends do it together. Groups of women come in and they have a class with Chevi. It's on a Friday evening. And then they come back during that month and they have their photo session. But Chevi also does classes, oh my gosh, on her own. It is a 6-week course. That's all I know about it so far. She'll tell you more. And it ends in an actual burlesque show.
Yep.
So
by choice. You don't have to do the showcase.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's
like a
cool.
Graduation. Yeah.
I feel like burlesque goes hand in hand with what I do, which is shooting boudoir.
Absolutely.
In the woman's empowerment category, Chevi is huge on that, and she uses her burlesque to really empower women to just feel
good about
themselves, because we don't nowadays, right? Women are so down on themselves, and I get it. I mean, because we're so wrapped up in pleasing everyone all the time.
Media, and told what we're supposed to look like and what we're supposed to be. And
so it really is cool to have these outlets to just have something to do for yourself to make you feel good. Yep. The burlesque class was insane.
Oh, I'm glad
it was so cool. She started out with introduction to burlesque. The girls were seated, and is this what you do in your classes?
Yeah, too, but way more extended, right? Like the first session is really about what's the class about, what am I going to learn, what's safety measures, and talking to each other and learning about who each other are and why we're here and what we're hoping to get out of the class. And then each session of the 6-week class, we focus on what I call non-dance related items. Like 1 week is costuming, 1 week is music, 1 week is designing an act. So I break it down, and then the last half of each class, because each session is an hour and a half, the last half of the class, we actually dance. We do some stretching, because you always got to stretch first. And we'll do some free dance to get warmed up. And then I actually teach a very similar routine to the one that I taught in the class here, a little bit lengthier. It's got a little more beef to it, but we learn an actual routine. And then at the end of all of that, we schedule a showcase. And if you want to participate, you do. If you don't, you don't have to. I then offer to let you help, like stagehand work or something of that nature, just to keep you involved. And then a lot of people
not ready to put yourself out there,
if you're not ready to get up on a stage as a performer, there's other things that you can do if you want to be a part of the scene and you don't want to actually perform yet. There's all kinds of ways that you can help. You can do door, you can, do stagehand. There's tons of ways to get involved if you're not ready to get on the stage. And we also do drag stuff at the shows we do too. So
that's cool. Yeah, that gives them
even more of a platform.
I never realized that there was an art and a learning curve to taking your clothes off.
There is.
But let me tell you what, now that I have seen the class, I'm like, I want to, I'm doing this. There's an actual learning curve and she teaches you step by step how to make it look so casual and easy on stage. I was really I really learned a lot.
One of the things that somebody said to me that really hit home with me with burlesque is it's all about the tease. It doesn't have to be about intricate choreography. It doesn't have to be about being a trained dancer, because I myself am not. I've loved dance my entire life, with my whole heart, but I've never actually really been classically trained. You don't need any of that. It's confidence.
It's more of a feeling.
Yes, it's confidence, which you can build, and it's taking your time when you're doing it. Yeah. Slow is always sexy, and a burn. Yeah. And then, you know, keep it simple. You don't have to do anything crazy to make it hot.
Yeah, I always like watched the burlesque dancers from, you know, like, oh my gosh, there's so many of them from the old timers. Yeah. Dita Von Teese is a favorite of mine. Yeah. And they just make it look so easy. Effortless. But then you try to do it in front of the mirror at home and you're like, God, this doesn't look like that, you know, because there's a method, there's a way to do things. And
practice. I mean, everything takes practice, right? Mm-hmm. Especially physical stuff. Sports, any of that stuff. You got to practice it to get good at it. Yeah.
So when did you start doing burlesque?
I started burlesque, it was about 9 years ago now. 9 years ago now. Yep.
Who inspired you?
So I hit my early 40s, and like I said, I've always loved dance, and I was looking desperately for a way to get it back into my life. And I started taking, there was adult dance classes where I lived, and I started taking those, and then I saw a flyer for a burlesque show. And I was like, oh, I'm going to check this out. You know, I like naughty.
So, right? Who doesn't like a little naughty every now and then, right?
So I went to the show. It was tiny. There was a very small scene in Albany at that time. I went to the show at a small little club, ended up getting on stage, and that's it. I was
really
hooked. I didn't perform. It was for a game. But still, I was just like, oh yeah, this is where it's at. Like, this is what I want to do.
So they were doing it in Albany.
Yep.
And when was that about?
Like, it's nine years ago. What is it, 24? So the middle of the 2000 teens. Yeah. Okay. I mean, they had been around for a minute, but now there's like 2 or 3 production companies that I can think of right off the top of my head in Albany.
There are? Yeah. Because I'm not familiar with any of them.
I mean, you got to follow the right groups and the right people to see.
Why is this not a thing? Like, why is it not a show that's everywhere? I mean, especially with like Moulin Rouge being on Broadway and
and also Burlesque came out on Broadway this year. Yeah, the actual movie, they made a burlesque show. It's growing. I can tell you, just in the 9 years that I've been involved, I've watched it grow. Like Instagram, it's all over the place. Facebook, it's all over the place. It's all over the world. It's all over the world.
I gotta find out who to follow because
go look at my page. I
know, about 1 million people. Follow all your friends.
It's just getting into the right and getting exposed to it. That's why, like, my first thing when I meet people is just follow my page. Like, just follow it, take a look and see what it's about. Because a lot of people have a misconception too.
They do.
About burlesque. They tie it to stripping, which it does have a striptease element, and I have no shame on strippers, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's much more Hollywood.
Yeah, glam.
It's more glam. Yeah, more
glam. It's more glam. There's less nudity. I mean, it depends on the artist, really. That's not, you know, but a lot of couples go to our shows. A lot of couples, a lot of girls groups will come for like bachelorette parties.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
You know, it crosses that. It's more entertainment. Yeah. More for entertainment, I feel like, than the other version. Yeah. So I liked people to, like, if they don't know what it's about, just follow my page. There's all kinds of stuff. I always post about local shows going on, classes.
You're always in Gloversville, and that just seems like
I'm working on that one.
So far away.
I'm working on that one. I'm working on that one.
I mean, and Gloversville's not really that far away, but you know, to drive more than 20 minutes now for me, I'm like, oh God, you know, I would love to get you down in Saratoga or up in Saratoga or Albany or, you know, I would love to see what kind of a venue do you need? What kind of a place do you need for a performance?
You know, honestly, you can make just about anything work. It depends on what kind of a crowd you expect. I mean, can you accommodate the crowd, which usually, you know, we can do floor space. You can just designate a piece of floor. I've done it in the middle of a dining room where we designate a piece of floor.
Really?
And we have like a dinner theater kind of situation. I've done full-blown theaters in Albany and Syracuse and places like that where it's like a full-blown, you know, theater where you have a huge stage and everything in between. I've booked all different types of venue. I produce too. I produce shows. So if somebody's interested in doing a show, I go and check it out, and then we figure out a way to make it work. That's part of the shtick of burlesque and drag, for that matter, is taking what you have and making it work. That's part of the creativity.
I love that.
You know, with costuming, with your venue. Because sometimes you have an act that you've done maybe, you know, 5 times a certain way, and then you walk into a venue and the particular setup just doesn't accommodate what it is that you've done in the past, and you have to be able to, like, flip it up and switch it on a heartbeat and make it, make it still work.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge, but fun. Right.
Yeah.
So
gosh,
any venue.
what about like, can you imagine doing something at like, I don't know if they would do it or not though. The casino.
Oh, that would be
they
fabulous.
have, what is it? Vapor nightclub.
I've never been in
has
there,
a great
that
stage for holy crap.
That's a great idea.
I know, right?
That's a great
I wonder
idea.
how to get, hey, if anybody has any connections to anyone through Vapor,
let us know.
Get in touch with me. We want to do burlesque there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine putting on a burlesque, like a full-blown burlesque show?
It's huge in Vegas.
Yeah,
that's where the
I
Hall
think
of
that
Fame
would go
is,
over crazy.
Like mini Vegas type style thing.
Yeah. At a casino?
Hell yeah.
Like, I think that would fit right
great.
in
that would
there.
Be like full-on
I'll have to look into who is the, hey, if anybody knows who the
works that
manager or who to connect with for shows at Vapor. I would love to talk talk with them and put them in touch with Chevi.
That would be awesome.
Because these burlesque shows are just phenomenal. And I see the crowds that they draw.
Yeah,
like,
we've created a community. That's the other aspect of it that's phenomenal, is the community that it creates. I live, if nobody knows Gloversville, which you probably don't, it's a very small town.
Yeah, it is.
Rural, kind of out on the edge of the Adirondack Mountains. There's not a lot to do. There's a couple of bars and there's not much else going on, at least at this point. And we started doing shows about 1.5 years ago. And we now have a steady following every month. These people look forward to it. That's their I feel comfortable here. I can be whoever I want. I can dress however I want. And that's another part of it is the community and the freedom to be whoever it is that you are without judgment. Straight, gay, black, white, doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is. And it works.
Let's talk more about that. When people come to you for their first session, when they sign on to a class, what are they usually looking for to get out of that class?
Most of the time what I hear is confidence.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I want to feel better about myself. I want to feel more confident in myself. And you'd be surprised how many people end up coming and performing going forward, not just at that showcase, but going forward. I've had at least a couple of every class that I do end up sticking with it and making it part of their life.
Really?
Which is an attest.
And do they just come back and do shows with you? Or
no,
are there,
some of them travel. I mean, some of them just do them with us because it's local and it's easy, you know what I mean? And they'll do it once a month with us. But I have some performers that are now like out booking other shows and, getting paid to do it. Like not necessarily a lot, but we get paid,
Yeah.
So,
because I would imagine that that's huge, like in the bigger cities stuff, like Chicago or New York or Vegas or stuff like that. They must have.
I was actually working on getting into performing. I was trying to get into some shows down in New York City when the whole heart thing happened. So it's huge down there. Mm-hmm. Huge.
You wouldn't believe this woman had heart surgery.
Yeah.
How long ago?
It'll be 1 year in September.
Because she goes. Yeah. And that hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't, because I wasn't ever sick in my eyes. It was a genetic thing that happened that I luckily caught, because it could have killed me like it did my father and my grandfather. So I was lucky enough to catch it and take care of it. And it was tough, but I got past it. And now I just enjoy my life even more and value it even more. And that's why my heart and soul is in burlesque and in dancing and the visual arts in general. I mean, I love designing clothes and costumes, and I just, all that stuff is where my soul draws me.
That's the whole thing with burlesque too, isn't it? It's
the
like
costuming,
designing the costumes.
Yeah. I mean, end game, it'd be nice to be able to design something and pay somebody else to make it. But when you're first starting out, like I said, it's about making do with what you have. Like secondhand stores are my best friend when it comes to designing a costume. Yeah.
True. Where do you get a lot of your stuff?
I go to Salvation Army. I go to all the local little stores, the little secondhand stores that are out by me. Goodwill, garage sales. I don't care.
Have you tried Treasures?
Yes.
That's a pretty cool.
You're talking about?
No.
Oh no.
It is on West Avenue in
Albany.
Saratoga.
Okay.
Yeah. Over by, let's see, off of 20, like you come down 29, I guess you would,
Is that the
from
main,
Gloversville. come down 29, all the way down 29 into Saratoga, and you hit West Ave.
Okay.
Go all the way to the end of
I'm gonna
29.
look it up. Yeah.
And you hit West Ave, and it brings you almost to where Treasures is. Treasures is, from what I understand, it's owned by the hospital, Saratoga Hospital. Nice. And I think it is the women of the hospital. I don't know if they're doctors' wives or nurses or who they are, but women involved with the hospital, I think, is who runs the store. And it is a secondhand store, but you bring your stuff there and they, you know, clean it and do whatever they need to do with it and put it on. It's a lovely little store, very clean and organized. And then they put tags on it and everything. And as the time goes on, the cost on the tag gets less, which I think is the coolest thing. I get a lot of my gowns for the studio there. And I end up paying like $25 for these beautiful, you know, $500 gowns that, you know, doctors' wives might have worn to a gala or something, you know. Fur coats and all kinds of stuff. And then they have, you know, house products, you know, housing dishes and blankets and lamps and all kinds of stuff there. Jewelry. They have a whole counter of jewelry there. And it's just, it's the neatest little place. I have been to the thrift store way down in Glenville, I think it is. There's a Salvation Army thrift store. I haven't been there in years. But my mom, God rest her soul, used to love to go to the thrift stores and poke around and see what they had. And that used to be a pretty big one.
It's like a treasure hunt.
It's
like, that's part of the joy of it.
You never know what you're going to find in those shops. It's so cool. And sometimes you can get some really cool, like, designer things. And, you know.
Well, and then, because a lot of times I have to cut stuff apart, you know, or like make it removable in some way. If I spent $20 on a $500 gown, I don't feel bad. Cutting it off.
Exactly. That's like what I do here.
They're like, no, I can't do that. Like,
that's exactly what I said. Because with boudoir, everything is basically sheer. So I get these gorgeous gowns from there that are, you know, originally $200, $300, $400, $500, and I cut the inside out.
I do the same thing. I just did it the other night.
And I always feel like, oh God, you should have cut this, but I only paid $20 for it.
And not for nothing, it's a second life for it, right? Now it's not just a dress; it's a photo, you know, prop.
Exactly. Beautiful stuff they have there, but. So burlesque is about a feeling. It's about creativeness, making your costumes, picking your music. How do you pick your music for a burlesque session?
What makes you feel like? What I tell my students is what makes you feel like dancing. Traditionally, burlesque is very jazzy. Like
that's what I get out of it.
Vibe, like there, that's classic burlesque. And if that's what you're going for, by all means. But there's a whole nother world out there of, you know, there's horror burlesque performers. That use, you know, or you can use, I'm just using it as an example, you can use like heavy metal or something like that. There are, you know, hip hop dancers that do burlesque. There are, I tend to use classic rock a lot of times because that's my era and that's what makes me feel, you know? So it's real, I kind of bounce all over the place. It depends on, a lot of times I get an idea for something that I want to do based on the costume, something that I've put together or saw, and then I'll design the whole act around that. But different people, you know, start from there. You could start from the song and design an act around that if that's what you want to do, if you're trying to express a certain emotion through the song. But realistically, any music can work. You can also, if there's a song that you like, but maybe it doesn't quite fit, you can look for a cover of it a lot of times, like a slower or faster version of the song. But realistically, anything could work. Anything.
Now, when you teach a class, you actually count steps.
Yep, I do.
And you teach an actual routine. Is that something that women need to learn or do to do burlesque?
No.
Or so it doesn't have to be as structured. It can just be moving and dancing.
Yeah.
But I do love how she teaches you how to take things off and make it look normal, make it look sexy and not like you're just taking your clothes off because you just got home from work.
I do that because I feel like if you show them how to do it, it gives them a certain level of confidence with it. And then you can be more free with your own movements when you get to that point. I've done entire acts sometimes when I get down to a crunch and I haven't had time to choreograph. I'll wing the whole thing sometimes. It happens. I try not to let it happen, but it does.
I'm really good at winging things. Yeah.
It does happen. So it doesn't have to be choreographed. And some of the, like, what I consider I'm a fangirl for them performers, they still leave chunks of time in their acts for free dance to go with the flow and to like actually feel what you're doing versus having it be very, mechanical, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do feel like it's more of a feeling kind of a thing than a mechanical thing.
Yeah.
But
and you could take the same snippet of choreography, like what I taught the girls the other night. You can take that same snippet and rework it 20 different ways to change it up so that you're at least keeping it fresh, but reusing what you spent time on.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the girls for their photo session.
They're coming Friday too. They're coming to the show.
Oh, they are?
At least T is.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
I don't know if the other two are coming, but yeah, they're coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In
Gloversville, Friday night at the Upper Deck.
Yeah. What's it called? The Upper Deck?
The Upper Deck. Yep. It's 1 West Street in Gloversville. We do shows once a month there. They're usually the last Friday. This is Pride Month, so we moved it around a little bit. And then we also do them monthly at the Erie Canal Distillers in Fort Plain. That's 55 Willett Street. But if you follow me, like I said, on Instagram, it's Chevi SuperNova, CHEVIE. And then on Facebook, it's Chevi SuperNova Burlesque. If you follow both of those, I post flyers all the time for things that we're doing. Classes, got another round of classes coming up the end of June.
There's a wide variety of people who do her classes and burlesque shows.
Yeah, we accept singers. I have singers come on. I have drag artists come on. I've had magic acts before. Like we call it a drag burlesque show to keep, for marketing, but realistically, I just want local performers. If you feel like you've got something to show us, come show us, come get on a stage and have some fun. Yeah.
It does look like a lot of fun. I'm not going to get on any stages anytime soon, but it does look like a lot of fun for any of you ladies who are looking to get out of the box a little bit. I definitely recommend a class, at least with her. It is so inspiring and fun, and she's a brilliant teacher.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I love sharing what I love with other people.
Yeah, it definitely shows because the class was amazing. I got to say, I did not expect that. I did not expect the level of knowledge and what to do. I didn't know that there was
that much to know about
yeah. But step by step, she shows you how to burlesque. It's so cool.
One thing I will say though too, I tell everybody in my classes too though, it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
This is what I've gathered
and you did keep
from
saying
it.
That.
This is what I use.
Yeah.
But if you decide you want to, get more involved with it, you're going to find your own methods.
It's an amazing starting point. Like if you have, if you're like the normal person and you have no idea how to burlesque, but it sounds cool and it is like hitting everywhere now. Everything is, Broadway and everything is burlesque. If you want to know the basics and how to get started, this is the class to take for sure.
And I'll travel. I will travel. If somebody wanted to do a class, even a 6-week class.
Yeah.
If somebody in Albany wanted to put together a few friends and do I'll travel. I don't mind. I like driving. So I'll drive an hour or whatever.
I know we got to get you up this way.
Yeah.
There's got to be somewhere that.
I have some other friends that teach in Albany too. So I've been, talking to them and saying, I want to get out this way more. Imagine
you and your other teacher friends getting all of your students together and doing like a huge
grand
show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How cool would that be? Yeah. Sell lots of tickets, make lots of money. Because the bottom line is always money, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Yes, we're promoting women's empowerment, and
we'd like to make some money.
And we'd like to make some money. Yes.
But that is part of empowerment.
It truly
is.
It truly
You gotta have
is.
money as a resource to do things, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about your modeling career. What inspires you to do that? Why are you looking to get into more modeling, and what is your purpose behind that, and where is that going to lead you?
Okay, so I think I mentioned before, I'm in my 40s. I'm in my late 40s. I've been told since I was younger that I should try modeling.
Because you have a very distinctive look.
Thank you.
And you photograph beautifully.
Thank you. I appreciate that. When I was younger, though, the scene was very much focused on a lot of like hyper thin. And so I avoided it when I was younger because I was about the same size I am now. I'm thin, but I wasn't like rail thin. And they wanted me to lose weight, and I didn't want to lose weight. I didn't agree with that. So I stayed away from it for years and years. And now that I've gotten older and I know myself better, and I know what I will and will not accept and do, I thought, why not try it at this point? Why not give it a whirl? I think I'm, like you said, different looking, so I know that it's like a niche kind of thing. But I'm just gonna be honest, why not make some money off my looks while I still can?
Yeah.
Right? Saying, like, why not? Why not use it? I've always been one of those women that's like, oh, I don't want to use my looks to my benefit. I don't want to be one of those people that takes advantage of men or of women, or for that matter, whatever, because I'm pretty. I don't like that. But now that I've gotten older, I'm like, it's a resource. It's a resource. Why not use it?
Use what you got.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Just like, I mean, it's part of burlesque too. Like, I definitely feel pretty when I'm on stage. So, it kind of, and to me, it falls in line with all of that as well. Like, there's a lot of pinup contests and pinup modeling, and
you are definitely you fit that pinup
thank you.
category.
That's like definitely a look that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff appeals to me as well. Yeah.
You got to get an old car or something and photograph you with an old car.
Every time I see an old car, I'm like, I want to lay on that hood.
Yeah. Anybody got an old car that wants to
lay on that hood?
Right?
Yeah, right.
The model industry today is tough. Are you finding it difficult to get involved in that, or?
A little bit. I mean, there's so many platforms out there now with social media, and like, you don't know who's legit and who's not.
That's it. The competition level is.
And like, I'm not one to like change the way I look a lot on pictures either. Like, I don't have any problem with editing, but like, I don't want to look like I'm somebody else. And I know a lot of that goes on, and it's honestly, I focus more on the burlesque stuff, and I'm like hoping the modeling kind of comes along with it,
and it kind of does.
There's potential there for it too.
People see your style, and they want to, if they want to photograph that style, they're gonna look you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Instagram is really, it's huge for young models today, but there are a lot of girls that are putting a lot of trash on Instagram. What are you feeling about that, and the young girls of today doing that? How do you feel? Does that hurt the whole women's movement, or do you think it's good for us to be doing, the young girls to be getting out there and just, what's your take on all that?
I think it's okay for a young girl to be getting out there and expressing herself to whatever level she's comfortable. However, I know at that age that I probably was looking for a lot more validation from outside sources than I probably am at this point in my life. And I feel that can be very dangerous for a younger girl, younger boy, for that, and a younger person in general. And I know that there's a lot of predators out there on the internet as well. I get a lot of those messages, and I'm older, I'm wiser, I know what to look for, but I think a lot of younger people might not. So I think it can be dangerous for them as well, not just to their self-esteem, but to their physical body at some point, possibly. I'm all about women's living, doing whatever it is that makes you happy. If you want to run around naked in the street and nobody cares, run around naked in the street. I don't care. But I don't ever want to see somebody get hurt.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What would be your advice, being an older model in the industry and being a little wiser, what would be your advice to the young girls up and coming about the modeling industry and what you've learned about it? And what would be the biggest piece of advice you could give to a young girl getting into it today?
Don't put anything out there that you don't want to be there forever. One, because it will be there forever. It doesn't matter if you delete it, it's out there. Like, I've never posted a new picture of myself ever. And vet out the people that are contacting you. Don't just jump at an opportunity because somebody says, hey, I think you should be a model. And if they ever ask you for money, then it's definitely like, you know, like if somebody approaches you and just, yeah. So vet the people that are coming to you. Ask for references, ask for examples of their work that you can prove that are examples of their work. I know it's always nice to hear that you're beautiful and that you're great and that you're awesome, and everybody loves to hear that, but don't always take it at face value.
Yeah. Be true to yourself, I guess. Is a good,
exactly.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Let's
know
see.
your comfort level and stick to it. Know what your boundaries are, and don't let anybody push you away from those boundaries. Yeah,
Facts,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Money, anything, doesn't matter. Money comes and goes. So yeah,
goes more than it comes.
Yes.
So I guess we're going to wrap it up, unless there's anything you want people to know. Or,
no.
You can reach Chevi at Chevi
SuperNova Burlesque on Facebook, Chevi SuperNova on Instagram, and I'm going to give out my phone number because it's everywhere. It's my shop number.
Sure.
Too. It's 518-224-0246, and that's my professional number. So.
Fantastic. Thank you
Awesome.
so much,
Thank
Chevi. It was so good to see
That
you
was
again.
fun.
And we'll see you again on the next photo forum. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon.